really competitive October baseball. I mean, we got close in 17 and 19 and all that stuff, but it's not like what's happening right now. Anyway, so far, so good. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Tomorrow night, we got Jeremy Reese on the show. We're going to be talking about UFOs and spooky science and all that stuff. Bob Motta comes back on Wednesday evening, the 23rd. Bob Motta of the Defense Diaries. We're going to be talking about the creepiest cases that he's ever been a part of or covered, because he's a criminal defense attorney, not only just a true crime reporter. On October 24th, Alex Petkus. We're going to be talking ancient history, modern parallels that night. And on October 25th, Friday night, and the first game of the World Series, Matt will be in, and I think we might be getting a call from Sean Farash. We will see. We will see, but it'll be nice. Next week is just going to be crazy. Starting with Jeremy Ryan Slate and Roger Stone. Then we got Grace coming on. October 30th is the one. I got to put it right. I got to put it out there for you guys. October 30th, Wednesday night. It's the only night. It's a night that we'll see what happens. If I can't ignore it, if I go outside of the bounds of what is possible, I might take that night off and find a way to break in to Yankee Stadium. Okay, so I mean, it could just be there. I could just be here on Wednesday night. I'll let you guys know with plenty of word. But this could be once in a lifetime. This could be once in a lifetime, and I don't know. So I'm just giving you forewarning. I'm going to be thinking a lot of thoughts over the next week, and because after that, it's the election, and there's so much. That's the great thing about tonight, though, too. When this show ends at 9:00 or about 8:53 or so, you all are invited to be a part of a public session of book clubs. The first time we're ever doing that. It's really, really going to be something else. It's a fantastic read. In fact, right now, if you went to quitefrankly.tv to the forum and to go to the book club for Mask of the Red Death, you could read the short story right now in literally less than 20 minutes and be a part of it. Leave some comments there in the thread right there on quitefrankly.tv. You can be part of it. And Rich Baris is going to be the co-host for tonight. I spoke to him yesterday. I said, hey, what do you think? I know you got a book club. What do you think about coming on with me at 9:00 for about 45 minutes and do a little bit of Poe? He loves Poe. In fact, he has all of Poe's stuff on paperback, so he didn't even need to use the reading link. So it's going to be a good one tonight, my friends. Very good indeed. And so we start here. Let's see. Actually, we're just going to start. That's it. That's all I had to say. That's all I had to say. We still have maybe 4 or 5 postcards left. That's what I'll end with. 4 or 5 postcard sponsorship tiers left on Patreon. We want to get rid of all those by November 1st. And when we send out your October postcards, which will be these wonderful vintage ones that I found in the mountains, you're also going to be getting a chocolate gram, a cocoa gram from Yes Cacao. I'm sending your address to them. They're going to send you some botanical chocolate, and then, of course, you're on with me, and I'll be writing you letters every month. Well, a postcard every month. It's been awesome with all the pen pals that are finally writing back to me. I felt very, very lonely. Then suddenly everybody got in front of their pads of paper and their typewriters, and they started writing me back. Feels good, man. All right, that's it. I'll talk to you soon. We'll be on the other side of the intro in a flash. Don't go anywhere.
I'm a little weenie looking for a bun, just a teeny weeny itty bitty one. If I keep on cooking, I'll be overdone. Pickle and onion, hot dog. Get out of here! What was that?
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up.
Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life.
It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back.
Does anybody else want to stay?
Let's ride!
Till 2010 or 11. We were still doing the other show in 2009, but it's been 15 years, much older than the entire history of the show, and it was another broadcast life. And whereas it would have been really cool for the Yankees to play the Mets in a Subway Series, though I remember the 2001 pretty well. I was in high school. There's nothing more crosstown sports history rivalry like Yankees-Dodgers. And I know they've been in LA since 1957, but nah, and I wasn't around for 1981. I was born 4 years later, so I've been waiting my whole life to see this matchup because I really love that whole history of New York and America. You guys, I listen. I'm not trying to force feed you guys baseball, but the importance of baseball in American history on a cultural and a civic level, our heroes, our early heroes, really good. Oh, it's fantastic. And every once in a while, I don't know, it's going to be really awesome to see the Yankees and the Dodgers actually happen, play some meaningful fall ball again. Me, first ever. I mean, I watch the old games all the time like a nerd. By the way, does anybody have any tickets? Does anybody have any tickets you want to send me? Do we have anybody out there that has any kind of corporate connections? You know, that's the one thing I never picked up along the way. I pick up a lot of friends along the way. I never picked up anybody that has a business that's just like, oh, yeah, take my box. Go ahead. Enjoy the World Series, son. So if you have any tickets, because they're about $1,200 a piece right now for nosebleed, I'm thinking about doing stupid things. Talk me back from the ledge or send me free tickets right now. Anyway, it was a great weekend. Yankees win the pennant. Donald Trump was serving French fries at McDonald's. Everybody went crazy. How much better can it get? There is one little bit of inside information I want to give you before I get into the Donald Trump McDonald's thing. This is from a listener of the show. I'm going to call him S. He says, Frank, I've got a little inside information for you and the rest of the audience. Since I don't normally get to listen to the call, listen live to be able to call in, I'll leave it here. I'm a member of the Virginia Air National Guard, and at our most recent drill weekend from October 12th to 13th, my unit leadership came to us looking for volunteers. This volunteer opportunity wasn't able to help out with hurricane response, but to be a member of a special response team. It was explained that this team would be training with state and federal law enforcement to respond to civil unrest and disobedience expected during the election and subsequent inauguration. The unfortunate truth is that several folks happily volunteered to join this team. So there's a little something for you. If my voice becomes a little shaky tonight, if I even crack like a 15-year-old boy, it's because Saturday night I was screaming quite a bit. Just saying. I was screaming. Okay, let's see here. Over on to... Where's my window capture? Here it is. From Zero Hedge. Left. The left has been Mick-triggered. After Trump does a fun publicity stunt. And the best thing is that they keep calling it, it's a publicity stunt. Oh, really? Really? It's a publicity. Well, you think Donald Trump actually wanted to switch careers? He's going to work at McDonald's now. They're just so fucking losing. These are the joyful people, by the way. You think joyful people would even find a way to laugh at this? You know who actually came closest to embodying the joyful Democrat over the last week? Chuck Schumer. He was sitting right next to Trump at the Al Smith dinner, and he sat there with his smile, and he took his barbs, and he actually looked like he knew the deal. Yeah, you know what game he plays, but he sat there and he at least played like he had a sense of humor and he knew how to roll with the punches. But boy, oh boy, All you have to do is send this guy to a French fry fryer, and it's over. It's over. They lose all their joy right out the window. On Sunday, Donald Trump poked fun at Kamala Harris's dubious claim that she worked at McDonald's and made fries by going to a McDonald's and making fries, plus working the drive-thru. So there he is. Happening right now. Donald Trump is killing it on his first day at the fries. Listen.
We gotta hit that timer, bring that one up. I'm gonna take care of these.
Okay.
Right there, right there.
He's frying them. That's it. He's dumping them out now into the tray, which then they can be scooped up and put into the little boxes. Bad Hombre said perfectly salted, hot, crispy fries. Nobody has salted and cooked these fries better.
Now we can put that right far right, hang it right up there.
On the far right. He even hung the basket up on the far right. Like everybody would expect him to.
Want to do the salt over here?
Yeah.
I did these ones already. They're good. You just got to do that one right there. So grab that.
Let me give him extra salt.
No. Yep. Yep.
Oh,
Good.
yeah.
Right there. And then we're going to grab the fry scoop right here.
Right.
Put it into there and just give them a swirl that way.
There you go. Swirling it up.
Okay, where's the little thing?
Medium.
There you have it. Nobody's done it better. Nobody's done it better. But while most on the right thought it was a fun pre-election publicity stunt, it really triggered the left, which didn't know what to do. Here's Eccentrical Foodie, which actually looks like it could be some kind of a parody account. When you have all of that stuff up there, it's usually a parody. If McDonald's will hire adjudicated rapists and 34 times convicted felons, I'm never eating there again. This has to be a parody account because McDonald's has given plenty of people second, third, fourth, fifth chances, I'd have to imagine, over the years. Let's see here. The Sourpusses even posted a gotcha, suggesting that because McDonald's closed for Trump's event, the whole thing was staged. Well, duh. The guy was only almost assassinated twice, and this is for fun. Perhaps no stunt in the history, says Seth Abramson, who has all of his marbles. Trust me. He's got all of his marbles. Perhaps no stunt in history of U.S. politics deserves more ridicule than the grotesquely embarrassing mummery Trump put on at a Pennsylvania McDonald's today. The whole country got shittier because of this. The McDonald's was closed. The customers were fake. Trump did nothing. Oh, God have mercy. God have mercy. Have mercy on us. Ron Filipowski. So the place wasn't even open. It was all staged and fake. He didn't work for real at McDonald's. It was staged fraud, just like every other event. What every other event? What are you talking about? You know, I put out a picture today of Bill and Hillary Clinton with Kermit the Frog, and Michelle Obama with, you know, several Muppets from Sesame Street. And I said to myself, I said out loud, I'm starting to feel like so much. Everything is fake. Like, please go and investigate Sesame Street and all the first ladies that have been. I think that Michelle Obama and Jill Biden both were on Sesame Street together. I wonder what that was. Was that real? Was it a publicity stunt? No, they were trying to teach children how to eat breakfast. Oh, go fuck yourself, you idiots. They're just so funny. I love it. Anyway, that was that. Our good friend George Alexopoulos had something to say, which I think is what really gets to the core of what we were dealing with the whole Golden Arches scandal. George says, I've delivered pizza, worked registers, brewed coffee, and served food. Anyone who says Trump pulled a stunt today has no idea how much this gesture means to the common American. Well, if they have common sense. And it's true. I'm with him on that one. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's just good. I mean, you think about this. Chuck Schumer. I had to go get these up here, too, because I know you remember them. This is what we usually get from these people. Here's Chuck Schumer pretending to be a human being in front of his grill. We got this last year. Or was it like around Memorial Day? He's there with a spatula, has absolutely raw hamburger meat on the spatula. He has 5 other absolutely raw hamburger patties on the grill. I don't even think the grill is on. I know that the hot dogs look done, but they also look, they started shriveling up like hot dogs do after they've been off the grill for a while, and they're just starting to become a little bit dehydrated. This guy stood in front of a grill to show you how he's just like you, this vampire who was taken out of his coffin for 5 minutes before he started burning to a crisp. If he would have stood there for 5 more minutes, he would have been well done, better cooked than those hamburgers, just because he's a vampire out in the daytime. He had his zinc sunblock on, and he was just hoping for the best. So not only does he have the raw hamburger patties on the grill, and he has one patty on his spatula, his flipper, but he's got a piece of Kraft cheese on one of the raw patties. You don't put that on to the last 45 seconds, you vampire creep. So it's just, this was the most human thing I've ever seen. There's one thing that they do. I mean, we also had Kamala Harris. Take a look at this. You remember this one? This was from last week, I think, a week or two before. Kamala Harris and her husband, Doug, they went out there to, I don't know, they went to go plant something. They had to go pick up shovels and move dirt around in a garden. I don't know. This was a couple of weeks ago. She looked like a space alien trying to figure out how to use a bidet. Looked like E.T. making his way around Elliot's kitchen. Just does not know what the hell's going on. Here's from DC Shorts that actually covers that whole fiasco in the garden as they're shoveling dirt.
Kamala and Dougie are at an October 7th anniversary event, so they're wearing their best somber and serious faces. They're going to attempt to use shovels to plant a tree. Let's watch how they do. Now, there's not a lot of actual dirt to move, but look at these forms. We can't be too hard on Doug. The only time he's ever used a shovel was probably to beat his ex-wife with. Look at these hands on Kamala. You gotta spread them out, just like your lip. I'm gonna get in trouble if I finish that joke. Wow, it should not have taken that long to move that little dirt. But good job, guys. You did it. This fish out of water experience reminded me of the time Barack Obama tried to look cool shooting a gun.
Do you think that the country will see the first gay president or the first woman president?
We already have it with Obama, so let's just calm down.
Yeah, we should. And that's actually probably the only thing that these people feel comfortable doing. I mean, Trump does this stuff lightheartedly, and it's really still only done as a joke on Harris, but it's fun. It's actually fun. You know? You can tell that it's being done for fun. On the other hand, you got Bill de Blasio, looks very, very comfortable eating a corn dog. He looks very comfortable doing that. I mean, there's no effort. There's no effort being made. It was just like, I know where this goes. Same thing with Barack, as Michelle looks longingly on her husband, jamming a wiener down his gullet. I don't know. You know, some things, just like I said, some things just come naturally, and other things look like photo ops. I understand how it all works. So we had that. Donald Trump. There, my voice cracked. Here's one for you. End wokeness. I saw a couple other collages like this that were actually really great. But here is a great one. End Wokeness put a collage together about what he calls the most iconic campaign of all time. And I believe that a lot of people would agree. And what he starts off with is the mugshot. We got the mugshot. And from there, vanquishing, or at least surviving and thriving past an assassination attempt. One of at least two. And then we have the joining of forces with the last semi-sane member of the Kennedy political dynasty, although I cannot in any way, shape, or form believe that RFK Jr. was very happy that Donald Trump was frying all those fries in the seed oils at McDonald's over the weekend. You know, it's just one of those things. You know, he's not joking when he goes over there and he says he loves McDonald's. He's been eating fast food for cameras for God knows how long. He, you know, I remember when he fed the football team and all that stuff because it was during the lockdowns or the shutdowns, government shutdowns. I wish the government never reopened. But yeah, I was looking at that. I said, I understand what's going on here. It's fun and this is great. But, make America healthy again. He had to do it, though. Because the reason why is because there was no, from everything I have read, there is no record of Kamala Harris ever dipping one basket of fries into the oil at McDonald's at any time in the company's history. So I know why he had to do it. But RFK must have his skin must have been crawling. Probably had to go cut a head off another whale to just take his frustration out. Said, I need a whale. Just give me another whale. Anyway, there's so much to be said about this. So much. Yeah, Bill de Blasio. What are you going to do about this guy? There's nothing to be done. There's nothing left. Nothing left of the man. Here's one for you. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro is threatening Elon Musk over giving $1 million every day to registered swing state voters who signed the America PAC petition in support of the Constitution. Now, he goes on with Meet the Press, and they keep pressing him. Hey, is this illegal? He can't say it because it probably isn't. And, of course, when you think about ways to motivate voters, nobody motivates voters in most blatantly illegal, unethical ways than the Democrat Party. Take a listen to this. I want you to listen to what he says.
Governor, let me ask you about a development we learned about overnight. Elon Musk says he will be giving away $1 million every day to random voters who sign his super PAC's petition. You are a former attorney general. Is this legal?
You know that by the time this is 14 seconds into this video, over the course of that 14 seconds, at least $1 million was just put on the ledger at the government. That is attached to some sort of unconstitutional government program, which was rolled out at least in part as a way to entrap voters to only voting for whoever's going to keep the program going. It's all bribery. It's all slavery. It's all illegal. So while they're over here pissing and moaning because of the way that Elon Musk is spending his money, millions of dollars are being spent just unconsciously by our government. Every dollar should be 50 years to life for everybody who's a part of it.
I think there are real questions with how he is spending money in this race, how the dark money is flowing, not just into Pennsylvania.
It's very dark. It's the darkest money you can think of.
But apparently now into the pockets of Pennsylvanians. That is deeply concerning. Look, Musk obviously has a right to be able to express his views. He's made it very, very clear that he supports Donald Trump. I don't, obviously we have a difference of opinion. I don't deny him that right. But when you start flowing this kind of money into politics, I think it raises serious questions that folks may want to take a look at.
So you think it might not be legal, yes or no?
I think it's something that law enforcement could take a look at. I'm not the attorney general anymore of Pennsylvania. I'm the governor, but it does raise some serious questions.
Yeah, serious questions. Like they had serious questions about Russia. They had serious questions about a lot of things where they're not going to come out and tell you, no, it's not illegal. It just doesn't help our cause. Not illegal, just doesn't help our cause. But, we want to be able to counter this somehow. So it's just leaving this question open, just like Russia after 3.5 years was really, the book wasn't closed. The book wasn't closed. They didn't find anything. They couldn't find anything. They could not charge Donald Trump with anything, but it doesn't mean that it solved the case. Okay. They left it open-ended as best they could in those hearings with that rapidly deteriorating Robert Mueller. So it's just one of those things. Can't say it's not illegal because the point is to keep the vague, one-sided tension building. Meanwhile, Democrats, on the other hand, are out there trying to buy votes through dangling, once again, the carrots of reparations, business loans that are 100% forgivable, whatever the hell that is, expedited citizenship, and student loan forgiveness. That's all fine. That's all fine. because it's not their money. It's not their money. They just have the ability to charge it on your credit card. That's just unreal. Okay, so listen, Nick Shirley is with us. Hold on, I'm going to play this real quick for you. This is the latest thing that he uploaded an hour ago. He's been in New York the past, the last week or so. He's been in the Northeast. Take a listen to this. Young girl goes against mom with Kamala Harris. It's incredible. Just listen to this one clip here. Hold on. Wait a second.
Trump. There you go. You mother, Trump or Kamala Harris? Kamala.
Careful.
Wait, is this your daughter?
Yes.
She said Donald Trump. You say Kamala Harris.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, and that's pretty.
That works. Trump is better.
Right, and she says Trump is better. Awesome. What makes you think Donald Trump's better?
I think if North Korea comes and they're trying to make us a war, I think Trump will scare them away.
Oh my gosh, this might be the smartest young lady I've ever met. That was amazing. Oh my gosh, W's in the chat for that little girl.
W's in the chat for that little girl. And joining me right now is Nick Shirley. Nick, how the hell you been, man?
Good. Lots of W's in the chat.
Dude, first of all, let me just say, it doesn't surprise me because you prove every time that you go out there and upload a video how easy journalism should be. It's not that anybody can do it. Obviously, it's a simple concept. I should say it's simple. It's not easy. You're going to places that are, in many cases, dangerous. You are asking very controversial questions of people that are, everybody's high strung these days, but you're doing something that the most well-funded organizations in the world refuse to do, and that is just be present and show what's going on without any kind of spin. And every time you come on, I feel like your subscribership triples. So I'm really happy for you. You've had a wonderful year. How the hell's everything by you right now? Where are you today?
Right now, we just finished up in Atlanta, Georgia. We just did a live stream down there, and now we're on our way to North Carolina to do another one tomorrow.
Yeah, I saw you. Now, what are you going to be doing in North Carolina? Because I saw you talking to a lot of hurricane, the people who are affected by the hurricane. You were asking questions about FEMA response and people getting rejected for what little financial assistance is being put out there. Is this all hurricane related, or is it early voting related?
Tomorrow's early voting related. We're doing like 8 days straight of just streaming every single day inside of swing states and in critical locations. So we just did Atlanta, North Carolina, and then Pennsylvania, then Michigan and Wisconsin the following days as well. Because these states are, depending on who wins, specifically the states of Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, that will determine the whole entire election essentially. Because either candidate could win Nevada, Arizona, and say like Georgia, but if whoever wins Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, or Michigan, like those 3 states combined, will most likely determine who wins the election because those hold the most electoral votes.
You know, I've had a friend of mine tell me very recently that Kamala Harris is doing very poorly and that Trump is actually in line to even win back Nevada, which was out of play the last election or so. But you've been to all. Have you been to all 7 swing states? I think you have been.
Yeah, I've been to all 7 swing states. So
now,
it's been interesting talking to these people.
This is why a lot of people watch you, because we're not getting, it's not graphs on a screen. It's just you and everyday people. And I think that analyzing what the average person is thinking and how they respond to basic questioning, whether they understand why they're going to do what they're going to do or whatever. Are you surprised by the answers you're getting from people along the lines of everything, race, gender? Like, what are you most surprised by?
Yeah, I'm surprised just by like the little reasoning why some people specifically are voting for like Kamala Harris. A lot of times when we talk to people and ask them who they're voting for, if it is a Trump voter, they're usually very passionate about why they're voting for Trump, and they give you like reasons why. A lot of times with Kamala, it is either 1, because she's a female, 2, because she'll be the first female Black president, and because Donald Trump's a threat to democracy, or Donald Trump's trying to take away reproductive rights. So it's very like little information why they're voting, but I think most people need to look at like the full aspect as to what are the most important issues that are going on. And believes that Donald Trump's going to become a dictator and that Project 2025 is going to destroy America because he's actually not even a part of it.
Yeah, I know that it's a lot of knee-jerk responses. It really makes you. I mean, for example, I was watching you for at least an hour or so when you were out in Chicago outside the DNC, and boy, oh boy, for people who made the effort to be there in the state, you would think that you're going to get substance from people who are willing to take time out of their lives to be there for a political event. You think that this would be the more educated, and it's not,
yeah.
And there was less there than you get when you're just walking down a city street somewhere.
Now, one thing I have learned is that the power of the media, the mainstream media, is very real, and that people do believe just the information that they are fed. If you grow up in a house and all your family listens to is CNN, and if you live in a house and your whole family listens to Fox News, like you literally your brain's developed in a way where only one point of view makes sense, which is very interesting. Like, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
Like, it's actually something that's like really like blown my mind as far as like, okay, you can talk to this person on the street and then the next person on the street will be completely different.
The mainstream media, the legacy corporate media, they actually are all pretty freaked out about the race situation. And in particular, how there is less and less people, especially who are non-white ethnic minorities in this country, who are very, very vocally expressing their support for Donald Trump. And it's pretty incredible because they can see it from their 30,000 foot view. You are on the street level, though. Have you seen from the beginning that this has been a formidable thing where there's a lot more Trump support for non-white Americans than you thought? And over the course of the last 9 months of you doing this work, have you seen that increase, stay steady, or decrease?
Yeah, I think a lot of people are fed up. I was in the Bronx the other day, and so many people are sick of the notion that people have to vote Democrat because of the color of their skin, or they have to support Kamala Harris because she is a black president. Like, she could be the first female black president. People are sick of that. If we all live in America, it shouldn't be white or black, Asian, Mexican. It should be America. It should be Americans. We're all American. We all live underneath the same flag. So the notion of, oh, well, vote for me because I'll be the first female black president, a lot of people are just understanding that really doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Well, especially liberal whites, they love to project their will onto minorities, and they do it in a very smothering, maternalistic kind of way. Like they always act as if non-white Americans are somehow disabled at birth, and they're the legal caretakers of them. So when they start expressing some kind of political independence, you have newswomen like Joy Reid saying that all black men who support Donald Trump are part of a white supremacist movement, and it makes less sense than the original reasons to vote for. It makes no sense. I had a question though here too. This actually came from a friend of the show, and they said, "Can you ask Nick to visit?" Whether I don't know if you've considered this or not, and I don't know if it's there's logistical reasons why you haven't, but could you visit the suburbs when you go to these swing states? Because you mostly go to cities, but it's the suburbs that determine the swing in places like Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Georgia. Have you ever? Is it just that? I mean, what's the reasoning for cities? Is it just because that's where the most people are? You don't want to do door knocking? What?
Yeah, the reason we go to. Maybe door knocking would be a good idea, but the reason why we do go to the cities is because when we're doing these live streams, we need a constant flow of people to talk to and to keep the viewers entertained and such like that. So a lot of times these like smaller towns, the suburbs, there's not foot traffic, especially during the day. So you kind of have to go to these cities.
I can imagine, but that's a great point about the suburbs being the real place. There's the real place where there's a lot of muscle in the electorate over there, no doubt about it.
For instance, when we go to Pennsylvania this week, usually when we do these videos, we just stay in the city for like the day and get the filming. But this time we're going to stay in Pennsylvania for 3 days. We're going to do Philadelphia. We're thinking somewhere along in like Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and then Pittsburgh as well.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Then we'll do a compilation video as well to put out on the channel.
Okay, so that wouldn't be live. You would just record stuff and then you'd splice it together at the end.
Yeah, so we'll be live, and then some of the interviews from the live footage will also be on the main channel. But yeah, we're gonna visit all 3 of them, doing them live.
Fantastic. This is the crazy thing is that you're one guy. You use I don't know what I know that we've spoken off air about some mobile broadcast equipment that you could use in certain situations, but you're very low tech, very, very pragmatic in what you bring out there. You just have an audio device, and then I don't know, are you recording all this with a phone?
We're upgraded. We've upgraded a little bit, so we do have a camera now.
Perfect. But either way,
yeah, it's just me, camera, and a microphone.
But it's you and your mom, no?
Yeah, me. I bring my mom, and I bring another friend, hometown friend that is now my filmer. So,
dude, I gotta say that hats off to your mother, because she's
people love her. People love her.
People absolutely love her, but she's not just a wallflower, and she's not a chaperone. Tell us a little bit more about your mom, because she doesn't ever come off as a chaperone, like I said, more like a partner. Does she have a media background? Does she help with the production?
So she has like her own TikTok and stuff. She actually just like hit 150,000 followers, but she's always wanted to be in like broadcasting news. Like she actually went to college for that, and then she had 5 kids, so she wasn't able to like pursue that. And then once I started kind of getting involved with politics, I started like telling her stuff, and she never believed me as far as like how bad things really are. And then I actually took her with me to go to January 6th, and then at the Trump rally, or some would say riot.
You were at the January 6th?
Yeah, and
Wow.
I took my mom with me, and it was interesting because she went there, and like the Trump speech was very peaceful. Like everybody's very patriotic, and the only like where chaos really erupted was like at the doors of the Capitol building. And so my mom, when she didn't go, she went to the Capitol with me, and then I was like, you should go. Like I don't want you here anymore. Like leave, because I wanted to go explore things and see what was going on.
Yeah.
And so she went back to the hotel, and then she was so confused when she got back to the hotel, because next thing you know, like CNN's like painting it like it was the worst day in history.
Yeah.
And my mom was like, wait, I was just there, and it was actually like a very like peaceful protest in the parts where she was at. So like, is the news like actually giving us the real information? And then she kept looking into stuff, and then she's like, okay, I gotta do something about this. So she started her own page, and yeah, she's very passionate about it. So then people just like her in the videos, and so I just kind of keep bringing her back.
Well, that's great. But you guys have been all over the world together. That's the one thing I need to know. I don't know. I mean, it's just part of the operation. I'm sure you've been asked this question a lot, but you've been to, I mean, obviously all over the swing states. You're doing very relevant things right now that are germane to the election. But you have been to the border. You have been to Ukraine. You have been to UK, talking about the riots out there, and also asking the British people out there about what they think about American politics. But you've been to maximum security El Salvadorian prison. How the hell is it your mother that's helping with the booking? How are you getting access to like maximum security prisons? I need to know about the operation, because I know it's just the two of you and a camera and a microphone. So it's just incredible where you've gone so far.
Yeah, I just get these ideas and I just start planning, and then I just do whatever I need to do. Like I just don't stop. Like I'm very persistent.
But I'm thinking about how the hell I'm going to get into a maximum security prison in El Salvador. I'm thinking I have to go commit a crime.
I'm still the first American journalist YouTuber to ever get in.
So who'd you reach out to?
You know,
the warden?
Sometimes no, it took a long time. It took a very long time, and a lot of people wanted that information, but I just can't get it out.
I get you.
That's kind of the secrets of the game, Frank.
I know. I know it. And how old are you? 22?
Yeah, 22.
Yeah. So you're only starting to build your secrets right now. Let me see here. So let's go to Ukraine then. Talk a little bit about your international the biggest things you learned internationally this year? Because I want to bring you back stateside for some stuff between the UK and Ukraine. What were some of the biggest things that you took away, knowing how much that is covered? Anything that happens across the pond is the same media, just it's their European outlets. They're feeding it back to us. They're telling us exactly what we want. Here in the United States, we have a little bit easier time vetting what's going on, countering what the media is trying to pull. But stuff that's coming from thousands of miles away, it's a little bit harder for us to go against the grain there. So what did you see for yourself in the UK and Ukraine?
Yeah, first, the United Kingdom, it's they have very, very similar issues to what we have going on in the United States, as far as like they also have I would almost even say a more drastic and worse migrant crisis in the United Kingdom. And then, so it is weird to think that a lot of these Western countries, like the United Kingdom, like France, like Sweden, are all being, for some reason, they're being targeted to receive large flows of immigrants coming from countries in the Middle East. And so a lot of people are upset. Like in the United States, we get primarily immigrants that come from South and Central America, but they're getting people from the Middle East and people that are part of Islam. And so they're like angry because the people that are underneath that follow that are Muslims, they are angry somewhat because they don't feel like people are like mixing, and there's not like some sort of like come together moment. It's like, okay, we're coming in, we're gonna live our life this way, and you guys keep living your life this way, and we're never gonna
there's no assimilation.
Similar. There's no assimilation, so people are angry about that. And then in Ukraine, it's really sad what's going on in Ukraine. Like people, like innocent people are dying. There was, like when I was inside the cities, there was like one guy for every 6 girls because of all the men are at war, and like the men that you did see that are walking around that were like in their 20s. Like I saw a lot of them without like some were just like missing legs and stuff, and they're just like fighting this war, and so that's really sad. But yeah, I like hope things get better for people in Ukraine, and I like don't understand how that war is going to end, and like when it is going to end, because it seems like the United States just keeps giving more and more money, which means more and more time to fight and for people to die. Like there needs to be something. And now North Korea just sent over troops to fight with Ukraine, or fight against Ukraine for Russia. So it's not looking too bright.
No, and the fact that it's been kept around when there's a lot of questions on all sides, and we know that there is really dark business interests there for us. And no matter how you slice this up, it seems that we really don't have very much regard for human life in this, the way that we have persisted in making this.
Yeah, because it's like when I'd speak to the people in Ukraine, I'm like, okay, how is this war going to end? And they're like, well, we need more funding. And I'm like, okay, well, you guys probably do need like the help as far as like getting the military aid and rebuilding stuff. But if you just keep getting more funding, more people are just going to keep dying. Like, even if you do have to give like a city or like move your borders a little bit, like wouldn't that be better than having a whole entire age gap wiped away?
Yeah.
Because they're eventually going to run out of men. Like there's only so many men, and like over hundreds of thousands, like I've heard numbers of like 300 to 400,000 Ukrainian men have died. So
are they talking about that there? Because over here they like to keep the numbers very low. They'll say maybe 10% of that. They'll go 30,000 to 30,000 to 50,000 or something like that.
Oh, it's in the hundreds, like maybe even millions on both sides at least.
I heard the displacement is in the millions, no doubt. I heard that there were at least 300,000 deaths in, and that there could be a couple of million Ukrainians just displaced that have now gone throughout Europe and everywhere else like that. So I
think like a third of the population's left or something like that. Not totally sure, because the woman can leave, but men have to stay back and fight.
Just insane. That's just insane.
So, I mean, like you hope it ends soon. I mean, Trump said if he gets put in office, that he'll have it even solved before he gets inaugurated. And I think just the only way it's going to end is if the leaders of the United States, Ukraine, and Russia get in a room and they figure it out, because on both sides they just can't have the whole entire group of men just die. Like, there's not going to be anyone to provide for the country.
No, yeah, I know they're going to have to start borrowing people from elsewhere, which is why there's a lot of worry that there is an effort to try to force NATO's hand into this thing, that there's going to be some kind of an event that pulls another country in, or they allow Ukraine to enter into NATO during a state of war, which means that it's instantaneous war for everybody else as soon as that they're rubber stamped in. So yeah, there's a lot of different ways that this can go, and people are wondering and of course praying, because it seems like no matter what we do, there's very little we can do about it. But what about you? You know, between war zones and prisons and just riot zones, wherever there's any kind of unrest and a story to be told, you're there. I mean, even in New York, I've seen you walk in some parts of New York that's becoming a sort of new red light district with prostitutes all over the place. And you know, where prostitutes are, there's gangs and pimps, and so you're in some pretty sticky situations aside from just being at the border. And you know, you know, there's a lot of types of characters that come along the border, and you're there as they're walking across, trying to talk to them. What was the most nervous you have been in the last 9 months? Because there doesn't seem to be a lot of awareness on the left, and I don't know. That's just
so. Recently, I was just in New York, and I was gonna come meet up with you, but I couldn't. I went to the Roosevelt Hotel, and I'm not sure if you've heard anything about like the 15-year-old named like the Diablo on 42nd Street, and the gangs that are obviously inside like some of the hotels, like the Roosevelt Hotel. So I went outside the Roosevelt Hotel where these gangs are at, and they literally just like sit outside of the Roosevelt Hotel. Like, one guy had the Jumpman logo tattooed on his face. Other people had like the train tattoo, and they're just hanging out there. And so I went up and like asked him, I was like, all right, you guys are the gangs inside of this hotel? And then I asked this like young kid, I was like all this footage is going to come out in the coming weeks. And I asked this young kid, I was like, what can you tell us about the Diablo on 42nd Street? And he just looked at me, and like, I thought he was about to sucker punch me. Like, I was like, holy cow, like stuff's about to go down. And so, I mean, if I was a New Yorker, I wouldn't even go near the Roosevelt Hotel.
I'd watch, especially if it's just you and your mom. I would.
Oh yeah, it's so funny because my mom's like, you can see a reflection on the back of the marble on the Roosevelt Hotel, and the gangsters are just like looking at me like they're ready to beat me up, and mom's just like this.
Yeah, dude. No, well, that's what I'm saying. There's been a lot of times that I'm sure that your audience is just like, Nick, you're doing a great job, man, but please keep your wits about you. We understand it's bad. We don't need the dirty details, but you're very, very savvy in those situations, and hopefully Providence is on your side in the future. But let me ask you a little bit more about the migrants, about the illegal aliens that are in New York City in particular, or wherever you've spoken to them. I know just by the reporting you've done and the questions you've asked them in the past. Who would you vote for if you could vote, if you are voting? I mean, that's a pretty telling thing right there. The fact that many of them who have just been here for a couple of months seem to think that they are going to vote for somebody is very, very telling. And most of them, of course, say Joe Biden because he has a big heart. Many of them say he has a big heart. He's for the migrant people. I'm sure some of them actually believe this shit. But what are the migrants going to do? Have they told you specifically what they plan to do if Trump wins? Because there's this Operation Aurora. There's the Go ahead.
The migrants, I talked to them about it when I was there, and they say if Trump wins, there's going to be a lot of riots. And I was like, oh, are you? And I was talking to like just a very like innocent mom. Like, you could tell she's a good person. I was like, are you going to riot too? And she's like, yeah, my group of friends say if they are going to do it, I'm going to join them. I'm like, you guys are crazy because, well, I mean, in New York City, they can't even do anything. So, like, the cops can't do anything to them. So, it's going to be crazy if Trump wins, I think, in New York City. Like, I think there'll be some riots and, like, hopefully no police officers killed, but
Dude.
I think there'll be some deaths had from migrants killing police officers and citizens if Trump wins.
And of course, you're not exaggerating this at all, because you're out there just asking questions. What are you talking about in the hotel? What is everybody planning? They have to know what's coming up in the months and the weeks ahead of us.
Oh yeah, and they're scared too, because they all live in the United States, but they don't have any permits to actually work, and so like their hands are tied, because if Trump wins, they understand like, well, we're most likely going to get deported, and we don't have our papers ready yet because our asylum cases are still months out. And if Trump wins, he says he's going to deport everybody. So these people and then they can't really leave the shelters, because if they leave the shelters, then they have to start paying for stuff, but they don't have permits to actually work. So they're just like going to stay inside the shelter system.
And it only continues to expand. I know that new buildings are being refitted for migrant service, refugee camps, essentially all over the place. That they're being refitted all over the place, and that's on top of that's just in the urban areas. Before we wrap up here, I want to ask you specifically about Springfield, Ohio, because I'm in the second half. When we end the call, I'm going to go on break. In the second half, I'm going to play one or two of the videos that you produced in Springfield. You showed up there because now we're going from urban impact to now suburban impact. When you showed up in Springfield, that's another story where the impact of the forced migration plan that the government is behind. It's a transformative plan. They're doing it for a very specific reason. This is not a mistake. It is being severely and intentionally covered up and suppressed by the media and everything else. Now you show up.
Yeah.
You show up to talk to everyday people, including high school students, and the stories that you have put out there that are coming from their mouths. Their faces are not blurred. Their audio is not nothing. These are just people telling their stories. It's a nightmare. What's the biggest takeaways from the story in Springfield, which was told to be fake news by the fake news?
Yeah, and I want to add a little bit to it too. Add a little bit to what you're saying, because everyone was saying like, no, this is fake news, whatever. I started doing these live streams because I wanted to show people that this stuff is actually as crazy as it is in my videos and on other YouTubers' videos. And so I was like, I'm going to pull up to Springfield, Ohio. I'm going to do a live stream so nobody can say I'm editing anything. They can't say I staged a story, whatever. So I literally showed up there, and within talking to three groups of people, a family just told us everything as far as Haitians taking cats and dogs. Like some teenage girls said that they had their cat taken, their aunt had their cat taken, their geese that are in the pond like have been eaten. So like the rumors were true. Like I don't know if you can say that they're eating like the cats and dogs, but you can definitely say they're eating the geese.
Listen. The cats and the dogs are probably there's some barbecuing going on there, but there's a lot of ritualistic stuff happening. But I'll tell you one thing, Nick, and this is from what you put out there. Listening to that one girl, and I'll play it in the second half. Talking about how her high school has been completely transformed into housing more than like about 50% Haitians. And not only that, that's not the crazy thing. The craziest thing is that because it might be a state law in Ohio that the cutoff for starting or attending high school late, the cutoff is 21 years old. And that many of these classes now are packed with loads of 21-year-old Haitian men that are very obviously trying to get with 15-year-old women, daughters, girls. I mean, I'd rather have the geese in the village green get barbecued than have 21-year-old Haitian men in class with my 15-year-old daughter. This is far worse than the memes suggest.
Yeah, it's sad, and it's like you could like hear like the pain in the girl's voice when she talked about it. She's like, "It's not okay. Like, what's going on? Like that doesn't make sense." and people just can't keep expecting to be able to come into the United States and receive all this stuff. Because I mean, if we pay into a system, you pay into a system, everybody watching this video pays into a system every year as far as our taxes go, and you'd hope that money would go to people inside the United States. And a lot of times these migrants come over and they don't understand that we give nearly 30 to 50% of our money to the government, and people get upset about that because in their countries they don't have to pay. It's not regulated as much, and so people are upset. And when you hear stories of 15-year-olds in school with 21-year-old Haitian migrants and people apparently fornicating inside the hallway, like, you would be, it makes me pretty upset as well.
It's just so. Then here's my last question for you, because I really I mean, you're calling from a gas station. You're always on the move. Are you planning to take any time off for the holidays? First of all,
I don't know. I need to. I mean, I like go insane. Like, I hate being home. Like,
okay.
I realize, like, I do not like being at home.
Well, then
I mean, I prefer to be out.
Okay, well then keep moving. Then to hell with it. Then let me.
Yeah, I mean, I'll keep. I need to like take like a week off and maybe like turn my cell phone off once everything's over and like maybe like plan some stuff out. But I mean, I like being out on the road. As long as people keep watching, I can keep doing it.
You know, your first show, your first appearance on this show was late winter 2024. Like, you were on this show earlier on this year. That was the first time, and you were really right.
Yeah, I only had like 30,000 subscribers, maybe even that.
No, a lot less. It was a lot less. Yeah. And you know, and I brought you on because, of course, you were camped out in New York, and you were getting some stuff out of the Roosevelt Hotel that we were wondering the whole time, and I couldn't wait to get you on. And I remember speaking with you, and I knew, okay, well, this is a young kid, 21 years old, and you know, you have a humanitarian heart. You don't throw people away because of anything. You're a very, very good guy. I can tell that off the bat. But knowing what path you were on, you were going to learn a lot about the world very, very quick. And I can already tell that you've been sobered up about a lot of things in just the last 9 months. That this is the real span of your career. You haven't even really done a year's worth of solid, like, big time work yet. So much has come at you in so little time. So let me ask you this: since the first time you were on, what do you believe? How have things changed for you personally, as we're now 2 weeks away from an enormous election? And what kind of perspectives and just in general, how has this work impacted you over the last 9 months?
I think it changes and gives you more perspective, right? Because when you actually see things firsthand, which I have done, and I try my best to show that to American people or whoever watches my videos from whatever country, and I don't hold back anyone's opinions with my videos. I try my best to let people be able to interpret what they see and come up with their own conclusions while sharing my own as well. And I don't like other YouTubers that go to these places and then they're too afraid to voice their opinions on other podcasts, or, for instance, to say like who they're voting for. Like, why should people be scared, especially if they've seen all this stuff? Why should they be scared to say and voice their opinion about who they're going to be voting for, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think when you see all this stuff, you realize, like, is there like what's going on? Like, this obviously is not right. And if we have the chance to change it this coming election, we should let other people know. And so that's kind of, I feel like God's kind of given me this platform so far to share with other people. And my whole thing is I just want to show the reality of things as they really are, and to let people interpret things how they want to interpret and come up with their own conclusion. And I'm just going to keep learning and acquiring knowledge as I go on this journey of just like discovering the world. And you realize how big the world is, and you realize how humans are so similar in every aspect of life, but there's also so many different opinions.
Yeah, and even though you cross cultures, everybody wants the same things, and you find that there's a lot of good. I find that you come across a lot of surprisingly good, and you have a lot of surprisingly good and positive experiences in places where you think you're not going to get any. And that's always a treat when you take people on the road with you for your specific type of content, man on the street, because a lot of people who are a little bit more localized in their life and their routines, they can live a little bit more vicariously through an unbiased source. And even though you have your opinions, and I gather from all your work that you believe that the probably the best of the two ways forward that we have is going to be through, Trump winning instead of what we have.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've gathered that, but it doesn't get in the way of what you put out, because I mean most of the people you talk to have different opinions.
It makes me angry when people label me as a pro-Trump influencer, which is completely false. I'm just showing things as they are, and right now with the election going on, if there's a change that can be made, I think it'll be best for Trump to get put in office. I think as far as like wars go, I think inflation, I think countries respecting us, I think it just makes sense.
Well, Nick, where are you off to next?
We're heading to North Carolina.
We're
on the road right now.
Okay. All right. Well, listen.
Everyone can tune in tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern time. We'll be there live on YouTube.
So the Nick Shirley YouTube, it's just exactly what it sounds like. It's NickShirley, Nick Shirley on YouTube. Go and check him out. That's great. The live streams are fantastic. But then the second best place would have to be either Instagram and or TikTok. I love the shorts that you put out there too. But your live streams have been very illuminating, and I hope that people go and watch them. And if there's anything that we can do for you over here in New York to get the word out about one thing or another, just let us know, Nick.
Awesome. Thank you, Frank, and thank you to all your viewers. I appreciate you all.
All right, man.
It's always awesome coming on here.
Yeah, well, drive safe and tell your mom we all say hi.
All right, will do.
All right, be well.
Later, Frank.
Later. All right, there he goes, Nick Shirley. Well, and there's a little bit more for you to chew on. Crazy 9 months. But you know what? If he goes nuts being home, good for him. Stay on the road. He's in his 20s. I'm sure people keep that fire, don't want to stay still late into their lives. But a lot more people just start throwing an anchor down about 10 years after where he's at right now. But damn. Those encounters with the gang members, that's 25 miles that way. That's not a lot of play. That's not a lot of distance. Not a lot of distance. And we're talking about tens of millions of illegals all over the country. Suburbs, urban areas, blue states, red states. And they all know the election's coming. They all know who is going to get what from whom. And that's crazy to hear, man. That's crazy to hear. It's not speculation. Okay, that's testimony from people who are having conversations with other fellow migrants about what the plan forward is if one thing or another doesn't happen. That's not a good. Those aren't good neighbors. Those aren't the people who are going to be good neighbors that show up unannounced, that show up at the beck and call to some dinner bell being rung by a powerful political organization, and then say, okay, where do I get paid now? And it better keep coming. And if you try to send me back home, I'm going to burn shit down. What the hell is that? Do you remember your grandparents and your great-grandparents telling stories of their immigration over here to the United States being anything like that in the least? In the least? What the hell are we being set up for? Have we been set up for? So, yeah, we'll be right back. I'm going to take a really quick break. When we come back, your calls, your super chats, I want to show you a couple of these Nick Shirley videos, and then, a little bit more. It's going to be good. And in about 50 minutes from now, we're going to get off. I'm going to reset the machines over here. We're going to go live again, public. You still have time right now to go to quitefrankly.tv, hit the forum button, go to the book club for Mask of the Red Death, and read it. You can still read it. Okay? It took me 15 minutes just to graze through it and find some highlights and fun things to hit on along our conversation tonight with Rich Baris. So we will be right back. Don't go anywhere. Thank you, one and all.
It's intermission time, folks. Climb out to press the like button. Thank you.
Welcome to Intermission. Yeah, Intermission.
You are now entering, quite frankly.
Quite frankly. Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite
frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly. Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly, guys.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
So everybody watch, quite frankly, with Frank.
Quite frankly.
How dare you?
Okay. Let's see here. Over on quite frankly superchat.com, which everybody can send, because there are no super chats on YouTube. So please be a part of the show. Send a thought, a joke, whatever you'd like. Shake and Bake says, hello, Lord Francis. I was wondering if you had any contact with Marley Hornick of New York Citizens Audit. Where I used to live in Pennsylvania, the voter rolls got cleaned up in the entire county. So that reminded me of her. I'll be seeing you. I can get in touch with her. I should. I really should. I would love to have someone like her on before the election kicks off. I'm still trying to cobble together what's going on election night, because I'm planning to be on air between 8 and midnight that night, that evening. But 4 hours is a lot, so you have to have something planned. I heard what happened to Matt Christensen and Blonde. That Blonde left the show and all that stuff, and it was kind of sudden and whatever. I didn't watch too much of Matt's broadcast last night, but I'm sure he'll figure something out. There's a shelf life. There's a really, really, the shelf life on a broadcast duo is always very unexpected. And I mean, I think they were doing it for like 8 years, so that's a lot. That's long. Tracy and I were doing Dark to Light from spring of 2018, and we're down to. I like hanging out with Tracy, so I didn't want to walk away from it altogether. But we're down to just Friday mornings, and even then, there's some Fridays that we don't go on for one thing or another, so we just take weeks off. But there's all types of reasons why those things kind of fall apart or need to change and evolve in some way. But Matt will do well, I'm sure. And I'm still down to hang out with him whenever he needs a buddy, of course. And I wish Blonde well, too. Jay Britt says, happy Monday, Frank and Franklies. Jesus is king. Indeed he is, Jeff. Thank you. All right, let's go to Rumble. Rumble, everybody's hanging out. There's no Rumble rants, though. You can send them at any time. On quitefrankly.tv, here's the gold pills. Super awesome to have Nick and Rich hanging with the Franklies again, says Stephen and Lori. I agree. Paulie9363, although Rich is going to be talking about Edgar Allan Poe tonight. Now, there's going to be plenty of modern parallels, a lot of imagery, and a lot of metaphors for what we're living through right now. Because as I told you, if you watch this show long enough, you've definitely heard me make Mask of the Red Death references over the years. It'll be very relatable tonight. Paulie9363 says Alex Jones was gold last night. Geopolitical was spot on. Gold last night where? What's that? What happened? I don't even know what happened. Witchy Poo says, I see a future senator or president in Nick. Can you imagine? We knew him when. Doug Simmy, thank you. Sean Joe, Empress Bitch to you, and Sean Joe. It's wonderful to have you all watching. All right, so we're going to take some calls from you guys and just see what's going on. There's other things that we can get to in the second half. But in the meantime, let us go to a video from Nick Shirley, because I want you guys to hear this from the horse's mouth. Here's a girl in Springfield, Ohio, speaking out about the migrant crisis inside the high school. Now, just remember, of all of the metropolitan elite broadcasters who have stepped into so many of your friends and family's living rooms at night to tell you that there is no concerning events happening with migrants in one town or another, especially Haitians in this one town of Springfield. You know, we already saw what's her face tried to do with J.D. Vance about reducing the severity of the Venezuelan gang apartment building takeovers to just a handful of buildings across the country. Nothing really to write home about. Just a handful of buildings that have been taken over by foreign militants. This is who they have. These are the people who have pledged their lives to Satan. They have pledged their lives to Satan to stand in between everyday people from getting to know these very, very simple truths. Because it's doubly evil, because not only is it a problem right now that should be addressed and everybody should know about, very newsworthy, but of course they're part of the installing of the problem. Not only is it a problem right now, but it is telling a story that is only going to get worse generationally. That right now, as bad as it is, it could still be nipped in the bud with a little bit of elbow grease. You know? A little bit, you know, it can still be addressed. It's not going to be addressed cleanly now because it is all over the place. But these are stories that are being suppressed for political expediency now, and because they know that more time it goes on, it is going to be the country's going to be unrecognizable very, very quick. All right, here we go. Take a listen to this.
Top floor, the classes would literally be filled with Haitians. Every single classroom. No white people, no nothing. It was just Haitians.
What percentage of students at your high school would you say are migrants that have recently came into the United States?
I would say about 50% of the schools, or maybe a little bit more, are Haitians.
Can you imagine 1 year you come into you go into high school for freshman year, and by junior year 50% or more of your school are just adult Haitian males straight from the Caribbean? Can you imagine?
They're filling the classrooms up, and we don't have the translators to help the teachers, and they're just really disrespectful. I mean, the footage got taken down, but before Christmas break, there's two Haitians got caught fornicating in the stairway.
That's
fornicating.
Cool.
Yes, at school. There was video. Another thing, the age limit to go to school is 21.
Yeah.
And there'd be 21-year-olds in freshman classes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah, that's not okay. That's not okay because I'm not saying all of them, but some of my friends have literally got violated by them.
Violated.
And harassed.
So their 21-year-olds are inside the high schools?
Yes. Yes.
Remember, you're supposed to just be turning 21 as you graduate college. As an undergrad.
It's not okay.
So there's it's... Where do you go from there? I don't know. Here's the New York Post from today. In Logansport, Indiana, not Ohio, kids are being pushed out of schools after migrants swelled county's population by 30%. Everybody else is falling behind, they say. Thousands of migrants from Haiti and dozens of other countries have arrived in the isolated Indiana city of 18,000 in just a few years. Furious residents say they no longer feel safe in once sleepy downtown, and their kids are being muscled out of schools by new students who don't know English and need a lot of help. They blame Vice President Kamala Harris and President Biden. Do something. Our community cannot withstand this many people here. Candace Espinoza, 32, a local photographer, told the Post when she asked that her message would be to the Democratic presidential candidate. Nancy Baker, 44, a mother of two, was more blunt. She said, "Get off my property." What she would say to Kamala Harris if she could. I don't see how she can stand behind Biden the whole time and keep deflecting any time they ask questions. I mean, here's the thing. I see a lot of people in the chats, in the comments of videos like this saying, can't wait for Trump to come in, or Trump is going to fix this. Like, Indiana is a safely red state, ladies and gents. The Indiana state government can take all of these people out tomorrow if they had the political will to do so. All of them. The federal government, fuck you. None of your business. Stop trafficking human beings. The state governments have got to take charge in this. But there's so much complicity everywhere, and when there's not complicity, there are people who are afraid to being called racist and xenophobic and whatever the hell else. It's just shit or get off the pot is not. It's just not. There's just so much here. Here's a little more for you. Here's a little more for you right here. Springfield, Ohio is getting weird. Asking people in Springfield if the rumors are true. Take a listen to this.
You guys have probably seen the news, everything like that. Do you guys believe the rumors to be true?
Yeah.
Have you guys personally ever seen anybody eating a cat or a dog here?
I seen a Haitian carrying a goose by its neck.
Wow.
And then we seen a van with like a whole bunch of cats in it.
Really?
And a Haitian driving it.
It was a white van.
Really?
With the Haitian
Full of
driving
cats.
How have you guys had any friends or family that have had their pets gone missing?
Yes. My aunt.
Can you tell us about that?
So she used to have this cat, and then so it's like an outside cat. And then next thing you know, give it about a week or two, it's gone missing, and we check her cameras, and someone's took it. And it was a Haitian carrying it down the road.
Oh, for real?
Like, you know how you be carrying your cats, like, by the neck?
Yeah.
Like, they was carrying it by its neck, like, squeezing it, just carrying it down the road.
At what time was this?
About 4.
Really, just midday. Someone wanted a little midday snack. How long ago was that?
About a month or two ago.
I know you guys have probably...
So that's why I say what Nick is doing is very, very important. It's very important stuff. And you just think about it. There he is with an audio capture device. He's got a friend with a camera. And it's just them driving around the country and eventually hopping onto planes and going other places and just having the balls to talk to people. And to think these gigantic corporate monstrosity network, teams, they work nonstop to make sure stuff like this is suppressed and that they can continue with their shitty Bob Ross painting of what the world is really about. It's awful. Okay, and it would be a shitty version of Bob Ross. Bob Ross is awesome. They are not Bob Ross, but they're forcing us to watch some kind of a knockoff. All right, let's take some calls. 914-200-0269. Burke, hello.
How's it going?
It's going well. What's on your mind tonight, sir?
I just want to say, everyone stay strong, weather the storm.
Yeah. Are you there? Sir? Okay, he dropped. Sounded like he was driving, so it might just be a connectivity issue. But what got through was very, very positive. Stay strong and weather the storm. I'm with you. I'm with you on that one. 8:20 p.m. Here's another one for you. This is one last one from Nick Shirley. Let's see here. Nick says, I'm not the smartest person in the world, but common sense is common sense. Watch Kamala voter change his mind in real time. All right, hold on. Let me see. Wait a second. In real time, they say? Here we go.
Change my mind. Go Trump.
And who are you going to be voting for?
Who, me? Kamala Harris.
Camilla, you racist. How dare you?
Why so Kamala Harris?
Because I got sisters. I got a mom, you know what I'm saying? I got nieces, you know, so I wouldn't say Trump is a bad candidate, but I feel like Kamala is just more for the females, you know what I'm saying? I just feel like we shouldn't ban abortions for sure. That's, you know, I feel that.
So you'll be voting for Kamala Harris?
Yeah.
So it worries you about like abortions and stuff? That like your main issue why you're going to be voting for Kamala Harris?
I mean, specifically that only, yeah, probably.
Yeah, we got to be able to crush the children.
Because, like, I feel like we shouldn't ban abortions.
Mm-hmm.
If Trump wasn't trying to ban abortions, I'd vote for Trump.
Exactly.
I mean, listen, it's very important to see this. This is the most common denominator here.
Actually not trying to ban abortions. He's putting it in the hands of the states.
Go Trump.
So
See, I don't know that. I don't know about politics. All I know is what they say, you right?
Okay, let's have a conversation, and I'll see if I can maybe persuade you or change your mind a little bit, all right? So for me personally, I started getting this stuff about 9 months ago. I was pretty, like, neutral on the subject. I could tell you, like, oh, okay, like, whatever. It doesn't really matter. But then I started doing some research, right? And I went to the border. I've seen cartel drop migrants off into America. And now that we know that over 12 million migrants have came into the United States, they send them to shelters here in the United States that
money.
we pay for. They give them money up to
$5,000, $10,000. I know.
They give them free rent. Would you like that free rent?
Hey, can I cuss?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, you would like that free rent? Would you like that free food stamps?
Yeah. Yeah.
Would you like that free clothes?
Yeah.
Okay, so they get all of that, right?
Wow.
And then they can come in here, and then they actually, if they live in a sanctuary state, say they're driving a car and they don't have a license plate on it, the cop can't pull them over and ask for their documents because they are protected underneath the sanctuary state. That doesn't make much sense, right? And then, so say you make $100 and you got to give $20 of that to the government in taxes, right? You will hope that $20 goes to the United States, and then you just find out that over 100. Now $82 billion because Biden just signed another deal yesterday to give $8 more billion.
But you see, he's responding to it. He's hearing it. You know, he's kind of a space cadet, not Nick, but generally a jolly, nice guy. This is really what it's all about, man. This is really what it's all about, and I think It's hard. It's hard because who the hell has time to go out there and preach the gospel of what is really happening every day? To preach the everyday gospel. Not talking about the Bible. I'm just talking about getting out there and trying to talk to people about what's actually going on. They're not getting involved with anything. And this guy's never going to make his way over to our side of the internet. And we think that because we're on Telegram all day, reposting things to the same, 15,000 people, that the word is getting out. And sometimes it breaks through, and the internet has been really amazing in that sense. But everyday people, these are still the major gaps that we have. And who fills that gaps are teachers and David Muir. Okay? Teachers and David Muir at ABC fill the gaps. It's really interesting. It's all very sociologically amazing just to watch this, especially if you have where the hell's going on. All right, here's another thing real quick. Actually, no. Yeah, let's do this. We're going to go on a really quick break. When we come back, everything Kamala touches turns to gravel. That's what I had sent to me earlier today, and I want to play it for you real quick. And then we're just going to open up the lines and take your calls. So don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
Oh, hello everyone. Master Yoda here. And when the day is done, I like to watch Quite Frankly. Once you start watching Quite Frankly, forever will it dominate your destiny. Consume you it will, like the gallon of milk I just drank. Oh! Oh! in the pit of my stomach. Oh! 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 The nearest washroom I must find. Oh! Oh! And while in the washroom, watch, quite frankly, I will. Oh! 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 Contractions! I am feeling. Oh, impressive that is. Oh, no more dairy for a little while.
The voters of this nation are presented with a choice between a monstrous, bloodthirsty psychopath and a self-confessed brain-dead ignoramus.
Help me, please.
What will future generations think of us that we cannot present the public with better alternatives than these?
Okay, so we're back right now, and this is what happened a couple of days ago. I guess Kamala Harris went on to Howard Stern. That probably brought so many viewers. The viewers just came in. Anyway, Vice President Kamala Harris loves U2 and Formula One racing. Here, listen to this. I almost got sick listening to it, but it ends up being pretty funny. Take a listen to this.
And just answer this quickly.
Yeah.
Why do you like Formula One? These guys driving around the cars over and over again in a circle.
It's so good.
You really love that.
We love it. Our whole family does.
It's not a campaign
depending
thing.
on no, God no,
Wow.
no. Well, it actually I haven't been able to watch it a lot recently because I am campaigning. Because also depending on where they're driving, the time of day. You got to wake up.
Who is your favorite driver?
Lewis Hamilton, of course.
What? I don't even know who that is.
He's leaving Mercedes. You don't know? You don't watch Formula One? No.
No, he doesn't. He's always washing his hands. He doesn't watch Formula One. He washes his hands because he's a freak that doesn't leave his house barely anymore, and he thinks he's going to get the Ebola virus. But here's the best thing: is that a couple of days later, after Kamala Harris's endorsement, Lewis Hamilton spins out into the gravel at the race. Take a look at this. There he goes. Trying to get out of it, like inflation. Trying to get out of it. Trying to spend his way out of inflation. I don't know. There you have it. So I'm sure she had a good day with that. So good on her. Good on her. She brought a good luck to her favorite driver. All right. That was in the Grand Prix in Austin, Texas. So what else we have here? Other strange things happening over the weekend as well. What is this? Oh, that's more of the Formula One race. But before that, there's something else here too. It was Usher. I know a lot of people have been noticing this, and it has been crazy because this one in particular, kind of slapped hard because a couple of weeks ago, Usher, the performer, the artist, he was on The View, and I think they tried baiting him into making a political endorsement or something like that, and he demurred. And he stayed away from it, and he wanted to be apolitical about stuff. And then, of course, after the weeks that followed, where all the Puffstein stuff came out, where Usher is both a victim and an abuser, you'd have to imagine. Then we get this. Let me see here. Yeah, this is Usher today now.
I love you more, but I love Kamala Harris even more. I want her to be our next president of the United States. and we can do it, but we're gonna do it together. One more time. We ready? What?
And then we don't have to do any of that stuff. But I don't know. A lot of people have been pointing this out. What the heck? What the heck is going on here? It's probably not very hard to find out what's going on. You know what I mean? 914-200-0269. Now give me a call because the rest of the show, and it's only a little bit, it's all yours. Because in a couple of minutes, I'm going to end the show. I'll probably end the show in about 10 minutes. So I have enough time to set up all of the... We're going to be live on YouTube, quitefrankly.tv, and Rumble. Okay? Maybe Twitter, just because it's a click. Who knows? Whatever. But I just need a little bit of time to set up and get all my ducks in a row, which should be fine. Because this is a well-oiled machine over here now. Well-oiled machine when it comes to book club. We are so in it. And all the OGs out there who know what's going on, please enjoy yourself and show all the newbies a good time. And that's it. All right. Let's see here. Here's one that just came in from Todd, but I got a call. Let me try to get this guy some more time. Hello, sir. You got cut off the last time you called in, but you had a positive message nonetheless. You said, stay the course and be well. So what was the rest of that before you got cut off? Okay. Well, there. So I'm sure he'll try calling in again. Here is a super chat from Todd. Frank, the Yankees don't have a chance. Well, come on. Then you're a nut, Todd. And why is the carpet all wet, Todd? Not a chance? They have healthy starting pitching, a bullpen that no one has really blemished yet, and a lineup that just started heating up last 3 games. So, I mean, I'll give the Dodgers their due. They've got a great lineup. They've got better defense. They run the bases better than the Yankees. But this is not a lopsided matchup. Come on now. No, not a chance? The hell are we talking about? Okay, 914-200-0269. Let's get a couple more in, or else I'm getting off early. Brother Zoe says, come hell or high water, I will be going to Game 2 in L.A., says Zoso Dude. That's something else. Are you going to drive your motorcycle to Game 2? I don't know, man. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. But I know that we're talking about once-in-a-lifetime stuff. Once in a lifetime. And I kept saying, I'm not buying playoff tickets to division series and championship series anymore. I've seen that. They lose every time. It's World Series or bust. I just want to be to a World Series game. So I don't know if I can ignore that. Anywho, 914-200-0269. All right, let's see. The first one up is 208. Go ahead.
All right, I got through. Thanks, Frank. Yeah, I've been trying to get through this subject about illegal migrants has really fired me up.
Well, I live in. Okay, go ahead. Where are you from?
I live in Idaho.
Okay.
And I got neighbors that I found out have been. I mean, my neighbor moved in. He's like a big contractor, and he already did shit that most Idahoans wouldn't do, like tore out like 4 foot of his land and put in rocks so he could drive rigs and shit on it and park things on it. But that's his property, so whatever. But lately, he brought in some illegals. You know, he fired all of his fired all the local people, and now he's got illegals, and I found out they're from Venezuela, and this is in Idaho. So,
is he taking advantage of some kind of state initiative or something? Where you said he's firing local white workers and he's bringing in people from the border. Is that something like that Idaho is on the down low starting to implement? I've heard some things about coastal elite Californian influence that's kind of creeping into places like Idaho and Montana. Montana. So I don't know if that's what you're getting at, or if this is just one man and his ideas.
Well, it could. Who knows what it is? I tried to talk to the sheriff about it because one of my neighbors got their dog shot. And this ain't no bullshit. I'm pretty pissed about it because I love that dog. And all of a sudden he ends up shot in his own yard. And nobody knows. And we call the cops. And as soon as I said, well, why don't you check my neighbor next door with his Venezuelans, because I talked to one of them one day because I saw him out right by my property, and he could barely speak English, but we finally understood that he was from Venezuela. And when I confronted my neighbor about all this, I said, hey, we got the dog killer around here, I guess. And he's like, well, I wouldn't do that. And I said, well, what about your Venezuela buddies? And then he got like this weird look on his face, and because he has like two trailers on his property, and he has these Venezuelans living on there. And so anyway, I know this is getting kind of long, but when the deputy came by and we were telling him about this dog getting shot, and then as soon as I said, well, why don't you check the neighbor with his Venezuelans? As soon as I said that, I saw this look come across her. There is a woman deputy.
Uh-oh.
And so I saw this look come across her eyes, like as soon as I said Venezuela, and I said, well, I don't, like she was afraid, like, I could tell that she was like scared that she didn't.
Scared, she didn't want to touch the situation. She just wanted to leave it alone and get out of there. You say
exactly. That's exactly what's happened.
Well, I wonder, and I thank you for the call because especially coming from a place like Idaho, that's one of those parts of the country where you think it's not happening, but it's all over the place. And again, there's nothing. It is always, there's something you always remember what's built into this stuff, into the immigration stuff, migration, immigration, illegal immigration. It is all meshed together. All meshed together. Because part of immigration is, of course, the vetting process. And it has everything to do with criminal law, has everything to do with safety, has everything to do with making sure that the country that is accepting people from other parts of the world is not going to be changed by those people. Okay? That they're going to accept them, and those people are going to become part of the country, its culture, its traditions, to ensure that that country survives for generations more, just with new people. All of that is out of the equation when we talk about where we are today. And therefore, it becomes for a lot of people, it just becomes it becomes a subject of us versus them, white versus black or brown, even though, there's, it's all designed to degrade that quickly, to start fitting into race, xenophobia. It starts fitting into all of that stuff, stereotypes and things like that, and everything gets just destroyed. They want everybody to get so lost in the woods of feeling and taking stances that can be so easily interpreted by the media, who are waiting at bay to assist in this debauchery. They're giving the media everything that they need to paint people who have reasonable requests as the worst type of racists and hateful bigots on the planet when they are. That's just really it. Oh, it's sad stuff. But at the same time, very exciting. What's going to happen, man? It's not going to stop here. And the other thing is, you think about those who say, I'm going to riot if something happens, like the illegals. What is here for them? What is here for them? They are literally children. Okay? If the United States government is not feeding them, clothing them, and literally wiping their asses, their babies' asses, giving them diapers, daycare, whatever the hell it is, school. There's no way to keep this up. There's no way to keep this up. eventually it's just you don't have any real love for this place. It was just blank checks. You know, I mean, well, do you really care about a place that much when the food dries up and the money dries up and all that shit? Do you really care? Do you have any? So I always think about that. Anything really changes, I'm sure there's going to be upheaval. I'm sure there's going to be some kind of a pushback and whatever. But if it just comes to the point where you're realizing you're living here worse off than you were in whatever country you came from, there's going to become a part where you leave. You just leave. It's going to correct itself in many ways. Other times there's going to have to be some confrontation. It's serious. We've been set up for a lot of things. Being called racist is the least of it. You know, there's a kinetic aspect to this plot that we still haven't realized here in the United States. The UK saw a little bit of it earlier on in the summer. You remember that? Yeah. A couple of weeks after we spoke to Right Said Fred about what's going on out there and where it's all heading. Now, we haven't heard that much of it anymore about the riots and the protests and, of course, the crackdown of speech and anything like that. But we know what's going on with all of the hostage videos that the sheriffs and the policemen out there did with all of their community Muslim counterparts. There's a kinetic aspect to this that's not been realized here in this country yet, but we've seen it elsewhere. So, okay. What else did I have on for tonight? Was that pretty much it? Trump's golden arches. We talked about that. Let's take one more call. Caller, you're on the air. The last one of the night. Go right ahead.
Hey, Frank, what's up? It's Chris.
Hey.
So I mean, I think it's important to see why the news refuses to accept or point out these people and where they're from, whether they be from Haiti, Venezuela, wherever in the world they're coming from, even Africa. You know, there's clearly other people coming from, because when they do riot, they're gonna not say that they're immigrants. They're gonna say they're black. They're Black Lives Matter. They're the same thing. It's not going to be. They're going to say, look at these angry Americans and look how mad they are. And that's clearly if he wins, right? Like, I still have I'm up in the air about whether or not they're going to let him cross the finish line or not. But they're not going to sit there and say Haitian immigrants are now having all their things taken away from them. They're going to say Americans are angry. Look at the streets of America as they riot. And you know, I called in a couple weeks ago and I said, I think, you know, like I said, we saw the JV and I do think that, you know, we're going to see the major leagues in the next, you know, few months of whatever's going to happen. And the news and those people that are in charge are going to, and Kamala and Joe and whoever else, they're all going to sit there and they're going to say, Americans are very upset. You could tell by just looking on the streets as they burn down your stores and 7-Elevens in your neighborhoods and things like that, you know. So,
well, you know, the one thing they're going to have a hard time with, and thank you for the call, Chris, it was a nice way to end the night. The one thing they're going to have a hard time with is just saying that it was Americans and it was white supremacists, because, as I said a couple of weeks ago, what we're seeing out of places like Chicago or in any other place that are, you know, that are majority non-white, that are being impacted by all the things that their caucuses in the past used to really highlight when they're talking about any kind of needs for their electorates, for their constituents. You know, the Congressional Black Caucus, for example, they were border hawks at one point. They knew what influx of people from the border who have no working papers, they have no legal status here, what they do to undercut wages for people who are already here who need a boost, especially in their own districts, be they white, black, Hispanic, whatever. So that was always a thing. So the people on the lower rung of the ladder, they're going to feel it the most. And first, and they're showing up at the town halls. They're showing up at the city council meetings. They are very mad. We were talking a couple of weeks ago about gangs. The forecasting that there is going to be American gangs that are going to be lining up against Venezuelan gangs and all this stuff. It's going to be urban warfare. It's going to be, I mean, there might be a unifying element to all this stuff where Crips and Bloods come together again. and tie their bandanas together and it's just like fighting. I mean, that's where it's going to start. That's where it's going to be most kinetic. In the suburbs, there's going to be a little bit more of probably a South African twist to how homes are invaded and everything else. God forbid. Get your ring cams, get your shotguns, and get to know your neighbors and always have plans and contingencies. There's a lot of things that could happen that you say, well, all the elements needed for them to happen are already here. So it's just, that's it's going to be very hard for them to characterize it any other way when inner city gangs are starting to fight foreign gangs. How are you going to cover that? How are you going to cover that? And that's going to be their front on the war. Their front of a war that we're all in. You know, that's their neighborhoods. Anyway, 8:47 p.m. and that's it for tonight. Thank you guys and gals so much. Let me go. Thank you, Sean Joe, the Sentinel, Witchy Poo. I'm going to Empress Bitch to you as well. I'm going to release the scratching over on Pilled. Let me do that right now. There we go. The scratching has been released. Thank you to everybody on QuiteFrankly.tv and on the Rumble. You guys, I'll see you in a little bit. Thank you to our super chatters on QuiteFranklySuperChat.com. You guys have been fantastic. And hello to everybody that's watching on Rockfin as well. We will be back in a couple of minutes with Rich Baris and a nice mid-October edition of the book club for The Mask of the Red Death. I hope you will enjoy it. And if you do enjoy it, I hope you become a sponsor and do it more often, because we have one more story next week. That is The Monkey's Paw. And then we come back in January to kick off the 2025 season of reading, which will also include Film Club. There's so many reasons to become a monthly sponsor of the show. I hope you do it. All right, guys and gals, have a good one and good night. Wait, where the hell am I? How did I set this up over here? Intermission. Good. End credits. Silly.
I'll catch you on the flip side.